these numbers are just plain. And what's the big problem? It's twofold. Unemployment, which is 22.18%. The U6 official figure of the government is 16.8%. And the difference is the birth-death ratio, which is nothing but cockamamie lies. So anyway, they are not getting the revenues in. Revenues from personal income are down over 25%, and revenues are off about 8%, 9% for corporations. So we're not getting the revenue, and it doesn't look like we're going to get the revenue to increase to any great degree. And on the other hand, we have this horrendous interest on debt building up every minute of every day, which has really become unpayable. And then we also have the taxes that were cut by the previous two administrations of that creature who used to be president of the United States. And this president is going to copy that creature and not do away with the tax cuts. In fact, he's going to have more. And most of those tax cuts went to the very rich. And that's where his campaign contributions came from, the payoffs. And so ain't nothing going to happen. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And that's why I say late next year, sometime next year, this whole ball of wax is going to come unglued, and we're going to have that big meeting, and there's going to be devaluations and default, and we're going to go into a deflationary depression. That's the way I see it at the moment. But I had to give you an overview of what I've been doing on national radio, and they're pretty well received. I was in New Orleans this morning. I had some meathead get on. And when you're in a section of a country, and I'm really good with language, you identify people who live in the area. They have an accent. And I had some guy call in and take issue, aggressively we'll call it, with my comments about Mr. Obama's health care reform. And he said, well, they're not going to use euthanasia on people and things like that. And he was pretty bombastic. So I said to him when he finished, ostensibly I was supposed to answer him, and I said, what government agency do you work for? And he said, I'm not going to answer the question. I said, are you aware if you work for a government agency and you're asked, if you do, you must, under law, identify yourself? He said, I'm going to answer you. I said, good. Well, I'm not going to answer your questions. So get off the air. I don't think he was very happy about that. But that's the kind of thing we got Washington doing. I don't think they were zeroing on me. They were zeroing on that station. It's an independent station in New Orleans. And I've been on there maybe 10 times in the last year, maybe once a month. And so I just thought I'd pass that on to you. But the government does have people that do go out and cut into these programs. I don't run into it very often. And, maybe once a year. But they're there. And they do work for the government. And they don't want the truth to be told.
They are everywhere. They've even been known to be in various programs and shortwave and so forth, and they will disrupt and keep things from being organized and so forth. So,
well, they're like cockroaches. You can't get rid of them.
wear those pointy boots. Anyway, hey, we got a question in from...
Great source of protein.
We got somebody in question from Robert. He must have missed the... when we opened up today about why gold
dropped.
Missed
the boat, huh?
He missed the boat. But he wants to know what caused gold to drop $27 in 10 minutes today. So perhaps being on shortwave, and I know there's a lot of...
Well, look, it doesn't make any difference. Robert is listening.
So if you could...
And it's extremely important that he called in.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to thank him, and I'll tell you why. Because I was going to mention something, and I had forgotten it. And it's in today's issue of the International Forecaster as well. And what I said was, I don't ask you people to do things very often. Back in 1992, I asked shareholders in Barrick Gold to sue the management for hedging in incongruity with the U.S. government to rig the gold price. And none of the subscribers who were shareholders would do that. So it never happened. But I ask you today to go to your congressman and your senators, and tell them that you're sick and tired of the President's working group on financial markets rigging all the markets every day, particularly the gold and silver market. And we know what they're doing. And you've got to stop it. And you are coming up for re-election, so I think you should keep it in mind. That will have impact. If enough of you people go after these people, they're going to start listening. Don't forget, they have investments as well. And they all know about the working group. And those that don't have to be idiots. I mean, I just can't believe that they can't understand.
Okay.
Do you have any more there? I don't have any questions.
Yeah, I do. And it's been a little on the hectic side. And so
well, gold's rallying. It's only down 1380.
So, folks, if you have any questions, go ahead and send them to discountgoldandsilver@yahoo.com. And here's a long question, I think, for you, Bob. This is in from Danny. And he says, could you explain what would be the real-life consequences for asset prices, jobs, unemployment, retail prices, if all the countries revalued and devalued their currencies, and a lot of them wrote off large amounts of debt? Also, what would be the mechanism by which this would happen?
Well, first of all, the mechanism would be a meeting, like they had at the Smithsonian in the early 70s. And then there was the Plaza Hotel, the Plaza Accord in 1985 in Paris. And I stayed at that hotel. I didn't care for it, incidentally. And the Louvre Accord, which is right off Rue de Rivoli, of 1987. And what they do is they get together and they say, well, we have to keep everything equal. So all the currencies probably would be devalued. There might be some exceptions, such as natural resource producers, Australia, Canada, and Norway, who are doing quite well, and Switzerland. But other than that, I see all of the currencies being devalued simultaneously on a ratio of 3 to 1. 1 new one for 3 old ones. They're dollars. Not anything else, not any other currency. And debt would be settled on the same basis between countries. Don't ask me how that's going to happen domestically, because I don't know. I know it's logical, and that is, if you owed a loan, on a loan, for $100,000, you should pay back $32,500. But there is nothing logical in Washington or among the Illuminati. And so, what would happen, I don't know. But I do know that everything would come down in value by 2/3. The only exceptions would be gold and silver and probably some commodities. The value of things would drop anywhere between 60 and 95%. That's what happened during the Depression. This is going to be worse. And unless there was a war and another